host, Chad Ever Broshears, or Sir Chad Ever Broshears to some. I am talking today about yesterday mattered. Man, it counted. Oh, and it's not like, okay, my life and my day yesterday mattered and counted. I mean, obviously, yeah, that's true. But what I'm doing is working on giving a more understandable and beneficial way of understanding how your decisions create a future, right? What you think you can create. It's pretty damn interesting how this works, because we've heard it, like I've heard this my entire life, 44 years old. I've heard my entire life that if you want to create something, you can think it, make it real, will it into in existence, manifest, all these things, right? People use as descriptive words for a particular way of thinking to create action. That's all it is. So the simplicity of it is this, is that yes, what you thought yesterday is carrying over into today. The more emphasis that you put on yesterday's thought and your focus, the more it manifests into the next day. Now, most of the time, my experience of these things have been small accumulations over time, but if you think about a beach, if you look at a beach as the total, you call it the beach. If not, you get it down to the smallest groupings that you could really look at. And we'll just stop at sand because I don't want to overcomplicate this. But sand is the individual unit that accumulates to beach. So that's the thinking process that the majority of us will have, and which will take us to success. So everything you thought yesterday and the day before that and the day before that, all of that add up as just little pieces of sand. And you're making your beach for your paradise, your future, if that be the thing that you like. I'm going to go with the beach analogy because I'm built into it right now. But, as far as in this conversation, I'm built into it. So we have the accumulation of thoughts over time. The more that you line them up consecutively enough to where they work together, what you thought about yesterday, you think about again today, but this time it actually has some degree of progress into becoming either clearer or being more useful to you, being more entertaining, whatever it is. It's kind of solidifying the thinking process. Neuroscientists could get into this from neuroplasticity and how you create new pathways, but you have to fortify those pathways often enough to turn them into second nature, which means that you don't have to put the effort into making it a reaction or a response. It happens because the environment dictates it, and you don't need the mental capacity to do that behavior. So that's what second nature is. So with this, the thought that you had yesterday absolutely creates today. Now, it might be on that same level, the same weight. It might be that grain of sand again, but it's piling up. It may not make sense to you, but it will if you stay the course. A huge beneficial virtue in the process of creating the life that you want to have is that you stay patient enough not to give up. The majority of the times that I've actually ever given up in my life and have witnessed other people giving up is they don't have the patience to go through what's necessary to get where they want to be. It can be uncomfortable, it could hurt your body, it can make you emotionally distressed or worn out. It can have all of these variables that take place that we use to negatively impact the benefit of patience, because it persuades you excuse me, persuades you into quitting. So as a interesting awareness, like I usually keep my nose down is what I refer to it as. I keep my nose down and go forward. I do my thing that I need to do and I keep going. What I mean by keeping my nose down is I'm not looking up for praise. I'm not looking around to see where everybody else is as in a competition, as much as I will use that as a bearing about what I'm doing in order to get to where I want to be. Draw inspiration from other people, whether they're ahead of me or behind me as far as the race goes, if you will. Look to what's working and what isn't working, and try to draw a lesson on both sides. If they're doing something that's working, fantastic, but what were they doing that wasn't prior? Or what is it that I'm doing that may not be as efficient, that gives me the qualifier to say it's working for them? It doesn't mean that it has to be that I'm doing something wrong or not efficient there. It could be that I see them replicating something that I do. And then I give them that credibility that says, oh, that's working. So be patient. Learn how to be patient. Life will hit you with everything to persuade you from being patient. Oh, here's an interesting thing. If you give in to the things that happen that break you from being patient, there's a good chance if you try to stay on that endeavor but you keep giving up over time, it'll accumulate to the point where you hit what's called rock bottom. For you, everybody's rock bottom is also unique, but it's one that can be qualified because you can say of all the things in your life, if that happened to you, then you would say that's probably the bottom of the bottom, because it could have every aspect of our maturity has been shown or manifested in that one place of it is not working. You are in trouble here. You are barely capable of surviving because you're so low on the scale of success. You're at rock bottom. So I do not put the negative judgment on those people in the way that I would make them something that I don't give appreciation for being alive. I appreciate that they live. I may not appreciate what they've done to get there. I may not give them a value or access to my resources. So, but from the outside, when people macro assign behavior, they think because of that particular position that I have, that I'm heartless or something like that because I'm not showing altruism in that point. But people also need to understand that altruism can become the crippling agent that prevents somebody from making progress in their life, and often is, because of the not allowing people to take on the lesson to learn how to deal with that part of life and how to overcome it. They say, I'll interject and give you money or give you attention or give you love or whatever it is of the 8 areas that seems to be the thing that would help them the most, and that's where they go with it, which just disables them by enabling them. So, all right, kiddos, I am just about to pull in here. I will continue on as long as I have the opportunity to, but I do have to get rid of, okay, that's not on, excellent. Okay, just making sure that my Wi-Fi isn't on because that has a habit of interrupting the video. Okay. So as far as these things go, yesterday matters, and that's how much they matter. Oh, I had a conversation yesterday with somebody that I have a high level of appreciation and respect for, and it was one that I did not understand because I keep my nose down, I focus, I go forward, I do what I need to do. I didn't realize how much appreciation he has for me and my skill sets that I've developed over the years. And it's real easy to not have that appreciation for what you've developed because you're not getting the qualifiers to make it stand out to you. As an example, the skill sets that I have that made me, entrepreneur has been that since I was a kid, so I won't use that one. I'll use more of an adult developed skill set. With working in the fitness industry, I just learned the system that I was in, and I maximized my opportunities by first focusing on my culture and developing my team and hearing my team out and developing a structure for them to strategize their own careers in versus just waiting for a paycheck. So there was a big difference between the way that I would run clubs in the gym industry and the way others did, because others would look at, how many memberships they got and how much money they got out of all of it and what the profit lines were, which is, yeah, absolutely. I kept an eye on those things too, but I was very driven for the focus of culture because that's the thing that would really get me where I wanted to be. And that was what pushed me ahead in those profit lines that made me stand out in the industry. But that was a developed skill set that I had after my childhood. Into my adulthood, that's where it started to develop. So, all right, so as far as that goes, yesterday matters. It matters so much. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what you're putting into your brain today, what you're giving your attention to, what you're spending your attention on. Invest the attention you have on what you want tomorrow to be. So if you're sitting in your car listening to music, or you're listening to music all day long, what is that associated with your goal? I'm not saying don't listen to music. I'm not for it. I'm not one of those assholes that say don't listen to music at all or turn it off if it's on. Nothing like that. My preference is I listen to podcasts, or I'll listen to ebooks, or I will do something. I've even listened to my own recordings, but most of the time that's not for self-gratification. That's not at all for that. I'm very critical of me. But I listen for where I can get better in a presentation, conversation, or whatever it is that, did I deliver the message that I intended to deliver from me being a witness of myself, like these videos, things like that. So yesterday matters because it helps mold tomorrow. It also was what molded today. But most of us will not look at it that way. We're all going to look at, well, today's happening versus you created this. It's the distance between how you created it and where you currently are that gets to be so confusing or so overwhelming that people don't want to look at it. If you want to become incredibly powerful and create the life that you want, look at that stuff. Look at it all along the way. You don't have to be obsessed with it. You don't have to walk around talking to yourself, anything like that. It's just pay attention to it, assess it, and see what it does for you. That's what I do. So I listen to my podcasts. I listen to, other podcasts. I listen to ebooks. Everything is about what I want tomorrow to look like. And I'm so incredibly entertained by it. It is better than any show I've ever watched. It is better than any music that I've ever heard. Although, believe me, I do love music. It's just when I give myself music as a treat, not as a staple. So even when I work out, I listen to an ebook when I work out, or something educational. Because it just drives me. No, it's not like, some people get into that heavy rock or rap or whatever it is. Hip hop and whatever. Don't really see a whole lot of people working out to R&B, but you don't know what they're listening to. But I don't need to. I don't need it. I don't have the ambition to be a bodybuilder, to be some massive guy. I just want to stay healthy and keep a physique that I'm proud of having, and then build the brain, build the attention, build the disciplines and the thinking processes necessary to achieve my goals. So it's the same as working out. I'm cautious of what I put in my body. I'm cautious to what I listen to. I'm cautious to how I pay attention to things. I'm cautious to who enrolls me in stuff that they're up to. If I hear drama, I try to dissect the concept of what they're talking about and get to really what they're saying. Instead of listen to the topic or the substance of what they're saying, get to the actual context of it and the real content of what's behind it all, what drove them in the first place to have such viewpoints. So, all right, that's it for today. Just think yesterday matters because it's affecting you today. If you just take enough time to consider what's happening today and look at how it's connected to yesterday in your thinking process, even if it's just a glimmer, because that's how a lot of this stuff starts. You're like, oh, kind of notice that? Good. Keep paying attention to noticing it. And before you know it, it won't be a kind of notice. It'll be, I noticed that. And then you keep doing it, and it'll get from, I noticed that, to, I think I can do something about this, to keep thinking about it. And then you go, I can do something about this. And then keep thinking about it, keep working on it. Before you know it, now you're not at, I think I can do something about this, or I can do something about this. Then action comes in. I am doing something about this. Keep doing it, and then you're like, I am doing something about this, to the point that I did something about this. And that's where you can start looking at the stepping stones, is what it takes to change your life. So thinking is one of the biggest places to go. But you do have to start freeing yourself up of what has become a feral way of thinking. The way I use the word feral, and I'll end it on this, there's feral and there's intentional. Feral is where you just kind of, your environment dictates how you become, but it's not strategized in any real organized way that you have any kind of control over. You're just raised that way, like an animal in the woods. It's not, it's not housebroken, it's not domesticated, it's a wild animal, it's feral. But we live, that's where the whole premise of the concept for growing up in the wilds of suburbia is because we have so many feral aspects about us as human beings, but we live in this society that we feel that we're elevated and we're very, very in tune and smart and all the rest of this, and some of the smartest people that have ever lived and all the rest of these things that we get. But we don't realize that the majority of the things that are functioning in the 360-degree sphere of our functions and brain thought, brain capacity, there's a lot of that stuff that is feral. It's just developed in the wild of the moment. There was no real mentor or structure or strategy or anything that got them into the next step of life. It was more of just the outcome of consequences that keep happening around them, and then the reactions to those outcomes of consequences. They come up with more, and then they keep doing this, and to the point that they're communicating with other people, and they validate that what they're going through is the same. But if you really spend the time to talk about what you're going through, there will be differences that pop up. There's a wonderful feeling when you feel that you are connecting with another human being, but the more that you really get into the details of it, the more you realize there's a pretty good chance you're not exactly experiencing the same thing, but they're similar. But you were convinced when you first thought about it, you first came across that with the person, that it was exact, but it's similar. That's where that feral aspect comes into play, because it wasn't guided in enough of a way that actually gives you the desirable outcome that you're really after. Mentored, developed in a way. So, all right, that's it for today. Guys, you're fantastic. I absolutely love it. Love having these conversations. I really do love sharing this stuff. I want to make the biggest differences that I possibly can in anybody's life. I want the best. But I will tell you, it's up to you. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. So put the work in. Use these videos to help guide that, give you some insights. You would come up with your own method. I'm not directly mentoring you. I can't create something specific directly for you unless I am interacting with you directly. But the best that I can do is give you what I see, the way I see it and how it's worked for me, and then try to offer that in the most concise and effective way possible. So with that, this is what these videos are for. Thank you again for taking the time. Your patience and your attention is a resource that I am so grateful that you've spent on me for this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with friends, especially if you want to start this conversation with somebody else. It's a good way to do it. Send the video. Have a conversation around it. Watch it together when you're sitting together, whatever it is. Bring it up. Use this as a conversation starter. It's a great place and a great way to do it. You can change your life, but you have to do it. It's the same as quitting smoking. You need to be the one to make up your mind to do it. It is not because other people are telling you need to. Plenty of people get diagnosed with horrible diseases because of smoking, and the doctor tells them they have to stop smoking, but they didn't make the decision to themselves, so they don't. It's pretty upsetting in that world when you realize that really it is up to you. So, all right, till next time, I am Chad Everett Broshears, or Sir Chad Everett Broshears to some. This is the Maturity Project. Again, subscribe to the channel, comment in the comment section. I am looking forward to having this kind of conversation with somebody live and or multiple people, develop panel options, stuff like that in the future. So just stick with it, and we'll catch you on the next one. We got a world to save, we got a world to change, but we got to start with us, otherwise it won't work. So till next time, see ya.